It's pretty wild, but only about 17% of investment in financial data migrations actually succeed without some seriously rigorous planning. It's a staggering statistic. If you're gearing up to move your financial institution's CRM over to Salesforce Financial Services Cloud, the stakes honestly couldn't be higher. A single misstep can lead to corrupted data, regulatory breaches, and absolutely terrible user adoption. But today, we're going to change that narrative. Welcome to this explainer of the definitive migration playbook. I've designed this to be your ultimate CFO-ready guide for a totally flawless transition to Salesforce. To make sure your CRM modernization hits the mark, we're going to walk through 6 chronological phases in this explainer today. Strategic discovery, target architecture, the data migration playbook, security and compliance, driving adoption, and finally, getting into the future with Agentforce. All right, let's jump right into phase 1, strategic discovery. Before mapping a single data field, we gotta know exactly why we're making this move, right? Let's talk numbers. Standard Sales Cloud Enterprise, that runs about $165 a user per month. But step up to Financial Services Cloud, or FSC, and you're looking at $300 per user per month. That is a $135 delta. Multiply that by, say, 200 users, and wow, that's an extra $324,000 a year. So the real question for the CFO isn't just about cool features, it's whether your firm is actually going to squeeze $135 of value out of things like complex household modeling, native compliance tracking, and purpose-built financial workflows. But here's the massive upside. If you eliminate all that manual data entry, you can actually recapture 8 to 12 hours of an advisor's time every single week. That translates to a massive 314 to 341% 3-year ROI. You're literally converting administrative drag directly into core relationship building and revenue generating time. Now that is a business case you can confidently take to the boardroom. Moving right along, here's phase 2, target architecture. So, with the business case locked down, we have to talk system design. FSC requires a very deliberate blueprint, specifically because of this huge paradigm shift called person accounts. In traditional B2B Salesforce, you've got a company account and a contact that works there. Simple. But in wealth management or retail banking, your client is an individual, a person account. Shifting to this model is so foundational and honestly so complex that a full 20% of your project budget should be dedicated solely to planning for it. It changes literally everything: how relationships work, how reports function, and how your integrations connect. And speaking of integrations, tying your core banking systems like Jack Henry, Fiserv, or FIS directly to Salesforce with those fragile point-to-point connections? Absolute recipe for disaster. Instead, you really need an API-led integration layer using a tool like MuleSoft. Think of it like this. System APIs handle the direct legacy connections. Process APIs manage your business logic, and Experience APIs deliver that data cleanly right into Salesforce. It completely decouples your systems so you can upgrade the old banking core later without totally breaking your shiny new CRM. Okay, phase 3, the data migration playbook. With our architecture set, we hit the most critical technical phase of this whole explainer, the actual data load. This is exactly where those 17% success rates are decided. The absolute game changer here is establishing external IDs, or what we like to call golden keys, before you migrate a single thing. See, when you pull data from a legacy system, it has its own unique database IDs. By creating a custom external ID field in Salesforce for every single object, you can seamlessly link related records, like a child account to a parent account, without waiting around for Salesforce to generate its own IDs. And using those golden keys lets you follow this incredibly strict, completely non-negotiable, hierarchical load order. You have to load users first because, well, every record needs an owner. Next up, accounts, and crucially, parent accounts before child accounts. After that, you hit contacts, leads, and finally, opportunities. If you try to load a child record before its parent, Salesforce literally won't know where to attach it. It'll silently corrupt your data, leaving you with just thousands of orphaned records floating around in the system. Nobody wants that. You also have to be a bit of a traffic cop with the system's rules while you do this. Your tech leads absolutely must disable workflow rules, Apex triggers, and validation rules before pushing all that bulk data. If you skip this, uploading, say, 50,000 accounts is going to trigger 50,000 automated actions. You'll instantly hit your strict API limits and crash the whole integration. Once the data is verified, you just carefully turn those automations back on in reverse dependency order. Piece of cake, right? Let's pivot to phase 4, security and compliance. We really need to talk about risk mitigation here. In financial services, a technical win is an absolute failure if you end up reaching regulatory mandates. We're dealing with highly sensitive PII, so you've got to make sure your out-of-the-box tools are configured perfectly. Salesforce Shield is going to be your best friend for this. It offers robust platform-level encryption for that sensitive info. When you combine that with granular role-based access controls and field audit trails, you can successfully check all those boxes for strict compliance mandates, whether that's GDPR for privacy, SOX for access control, or FINRA for record keeping. Basically, security can't just be an afterthought, it has to be baked right into the foundation.
Now for Phase 5, driving adoption.
All right, time to address the human element, because let's face it, the most beautifully architected CRM in the world is utterly useless if your advisors just refuse to log in. The harsh reality, most Salesforce implementations don't fail because Salesforce is the wrong platform. They fail because the business stops too early. Hitting the Go Live button is merely the starting line, folks. Once it's on, user resistance is going to test you. Your advisors love their old spreadsheets, so that resistance has to be countered with dedicated, really intentional change management. To practically guarantee success, you'll want to run this sequential 30-day playbook. On day 0, deploy internal super users. These are peers who champion the platform and give immediate, localized support. By day 10, run targeted, role-based training so wealth managers see their specific tools and retail bankers see theirs. Then on day 20, run relationship integrity reports. This is huge. It catches users slipping back into bad habits before data decay sets in. Finally, by day 30, gather feedback and actually iterate on it. Show the team that the system works for them, not the other way around.
And that brings us to our final phase, Phase 6, the future with Agentforce.
Once you transition this newly pristine data foundation into the AI era, you can finally wave goodbye to the legacy drudgery of the past. No more manual data entry, reactive customer service, or totally fragmented client intelligence. The future of FSC is Agentforce. Just imagine having autonomous AI assistants working right alongside your advisors, instantly handling case triage, automatically booking client review meetings, and surfacing proactive, data-driven insights directly on the client record. It's a total game changer. The impact of this shift is honestly incredible. By tapping into this AI layer, you're reallocating hours of lost productivity directly back where it belongs. Automated admin and compliance tasks shrink dramatically, which frees up 45% more time for core relationship building, client strategy, and of course, revenue generation. The platform actually starts doing the heavy lifting for your team. So, I want to leave you with this final thought. You've justified the business case. Your data is perfectly mapped, cleaned, and migrated using those golden keys. Your architecture is completely compliant, and your team is fully trained and actively engaged. The foundation is rock solid. So, are you ready to let Agentforce take the wheel and completely transform your financial institution? The roadmap is right in front of you. Now it's just time to execute. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer of the ultimate migration playbook. And hey, best of luck with your transition.